My name is Cameron Paul, and I am the Chief of Police for the American Fork Police Department. I'd like to address the members of our American Fork and Cedar Hills community regarding some videos currently circulating on social media.
Alright, so welcome back to the channel where we are looking at the scenario or the story that is unfolding between the YouTuber Reckless Ben and Bricks and Minifigs. Let me tell you, so far this story has been more exciting than anything on any movie or streaming platform. This is the most exciting thing that's happening right now in this day and time. Without further ado, let's get straight into this video, which the American Fork Police Department actually came out with a press release where in the video they were trying to clarify certain things. So let's give a listening here to what they have to say. Let's get into the video.
My name is Cameron Paul, and I am the Chief of Police for the American Fork Police Department. I'd like to address the members of our American Fork and Cedar Hills community regarding some videos currently circulating on social media.
Right off the bat, why is police officer Cameron Paul whispering? Can somebody tell me why is he whispering? Is he not trying to disturb the elderlies that are probably across the room, or why is he whispering? Somebody please tell me why is he whispering, because I can't hear this guy. I can't hear him. You know what? I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna increase his voice because I can't hear him.
That have been presented in a way that calls into question some of the actions of our departments.
Hey, hold up. I know what you're gonna say. Just play the video. You just wanna hear what he has to say, but why is he presenting the information as misleading when everybody that's on social media can clearly see that there were some shady things going on when it came to the conduct of the police officers involved? It's as clear as daylight. Come on, Officer Paul. Everybody on the internet can see what's happening. We all saw what happened. The videos are out there. The audio is out there. And none of it is misleading or looks strange, or it is what it is. Let's get back into it.
These videos are affiliated with an influencer on YouTube and other social media platforms and stem from a dispute involving Legos that originates in the state of Oregon. In this message, we will be presenting 4 different cases and police responses from our police department, and will provide a detailed overview as to what happened and what our actions were. On March 8th, 2026, an American Fork resident, Joshua Johnson, requested phone contact from the American Fork Police Department regarding a suspicious individual who had earlier arrived at his home. Officer Tonga with the American Fork Police Department contacted Mr. Johnson by phone. Mr. Johnson reported that earlier that same day, a suspicious male had been at his residence. He stated the male was wearing a baseball cap with a UPS logo taped onto it. Mr. Johnson also reported that a suspicious package had been left at the residence. He explained that what appeared suspicious was that the shipping label did not look legitimate. The package was later determined to contain rubber ducks. Mr. Johnson reported to Officer Tonga that he believed the male was an individual named Benjamin Snyder, who, according to Johnson, operates a YouTube channel. Mr. Johnson further explained that civil proceedings were occurring in Oregon and stated that he believed Snyder was sending individuals to his home to harass him. While Officer Tonga was still on the phone with Mr. Johnson, Johnson reported that 2 females had exited a vehicle and were walking toward his property. He also reported that a male driver remained inside the vehicle. Officers Tonga and Richardson responded to the area. Officer Tonga contacted the driver, who identified himself as Benjamin Adams. Although Adams initially stated he was there for unrelated reasons, he later admitted he had been filming Mr. Johnson while Johnson was walking around the exterior of his residence. Adams told Officer Tonga that an individual named Benjamin Snyder had flown into Utah on March 7th, 2026, and had contacted Adams requesting assistance with filming, for which Adams would be compensated by Snyder. Adams reported that Snyder had left prior to officers' arrival and stated Snyder was driving a dark-colored Hyundai passenger car. Officer Tonga issued Adams a trespass warning at Mr. Johnson's request and instructed him not to return to Mr. Johnson's residence. At approximately the same time, Officer Richardson arrived in the area and located a dark-colored Hyundai vehicle. Richardson initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle for failing to stop before the stop line at a stop sign and failing to stop completely at that stop sign. Richardson contacted the driver, who identified himself as Tyler Shaw. A rear passenger also identified himself as Benjamin Snyder. When Officer Tonga arrived at the scene of the traffic stop, he spoke with Snyder, who stated he was in Utah filming a series regarding civil proceedings originating out of Oregon. Both individuals denied any involvement in delivering the package. At that point, Officer Tonga determined that Adams, Shaw, and Snyder did not appear to have committed any violations of Utah's criminal code. Officer Tonga advised Shaw and Snyder that they were trespassed from Mr. Johnson's property and could not return. Both individuals acknowledged the trespass warning and were released. On March 9th, 2026, Joshua Johnson again contacted our department to report that a male was at his front door, ringing the doorbell and knocking. Mr. Johnson reported the male claimed to be part of a YouTube initiative, and Mr. Johnson stated that the male was harassing him. Johnson also reported that the male had pounded on the door, opened the screen door, attempted to open the front door, and had looked through some of the windows to the residence. Officer Hawkins with the American Fork Police Department responded and contacted the male, who identified himself as Christian Morgan. Morgan told Officer Hawkins he was attempting to help his friend Benjamin Snyder contact Mr. Johnson regarding a dispute involving a business known as Bricks and Minifigs and some alleged money that was owed. Officer Hawkins asked Morgan how he became involved. Morgan stated that Snyder had posted on Instagram indicating he was coming to Utah and needed assistance from locals to get around town. Morgan offered to help and explained that at one point while he was in the vehicle with Snyder, Snyder requested help contacting Mr. Johnson. Morgan told Officer Hawkins that Snyder was likely nearby in a church parking lot. Officer Hawkins determined that Morgan had falsely represented himself to Mr. Johnson through his doorbell camera as belonging to a nearby church congregation that did not exist. Morgan had also told Mr. Johnson that he had been sent by Johnson's church leader. Morgan acknowledged to Officer Hawkins that these statements were false and that he had made them at the direction of Mr. Snyder. Officer Hawkins issued Morgan a trespass warning and instructed him not to return to the residence. As Officer Hawkins prepared to locate Snyder as part of the investigation, he observed Morgan walking toward a Hyundai passenger vehicle occupied by several individuals. Officer Hawkins believed Snyder may have been inside of the vehicle and intended to contact him as part of the investigation. Officer Hawkins initiated a traffic stop on the vehicle. As this occurred, Morgan turned away from the vehicle and ran away from officers. Officers did not pursue Morgan because he had not committed a crime, and Morgan was not observed again by our officers. Officer Hawkins discovered the vehicle was occupied by Tyler Shaw and Benjamin Snyder, both of whom had been trespassed from Mr. Johnson's residence the previous day. As Officer Hawkins spoke with Shaw and Snyder, they initially denied sending Morgan to the residence. Later in this conversation, Snyder admitted they had indeed sent Morgan and another unidentified individual to attempt to contact Mr. Johnson because, according to Snyder, their civil case could not proceed without an attempt at verbal reconciliation. During the interaction, Officer Fraughton indicated he believed Shaw's eyes appeared glossy and expressed concern regarding possible impairment. Officer Hawkins asked Shaw if he would be willing to participate in field sobriety testing to ensure he was safe to drive. Shaw agreed. Field sobriety tests were conducted and no signs of impairment were observed. During this same time, while Officer Hawkins was conducting his investigation, Officer Fraughton used his police service dog to conduct an open-air sniff around the vehicle. Fraughton's police service dog alerted to the presence of the odor of a controlled substance, and the vehicle was subsequently searched. no illegal substances were located inside of the vehicle. At one point during a conversation, Snyder admitted to Officer Hawkins that he and Shaw had actually delivered a package of ducks to Mr. Johnson's residence with the intent to have Mr. Johnson sign a fake delivery confirmation on Snyder's phone so that Snyder could later use that signature to create a forged contract claiming Snyder could not be trespassed from the property for 5 years. Snyder indicated he did not believe there was anything wrong with this and believed that there was nothing wrong with his posing as a UPS delivery driver. Ultimately, Officer Hawkins warned Shaw and Snyder again that they were approaching conduct that could potentially constitute harassment or stalking if they continued to send individuals to Mr. Johnson's residence. Officer Hawkins reaffirmed the trespass warning and released both of them from the scene. On March 10th, 2026, Kaylee Johnson, the wife of Joshua Johnson, reported that a female was standing near the front door of her residence taking photographs of the home. The female was described as wearing long, fake, curly hair. Shortly afterward, Joshua Johnson contacted police and reported he was going to shoot someone as a result of the ongoing harassment.
Okay, so Mr. Johnson called the police department and said that he was gonna shoot someone. Alright, so this is cause for concern. So now in this situation, I should be seeing the police department trying to reach out to Josh, right? Try to search him, search Josh, see if he has any firearm, and if it's legal or illegal. That's the normal situation that any normal individual would go through if they make a statement like that. So I don't know if it was an accident that he made that statement or he just made the statement, whatever the case may be. But I really want to see, I want to hear how they actually handle that situation, because Ben was actually arrested for basic things. Basic 1, 2, 3. So let's take a moment and listen to hear what happened to Mr. Johnson based on that statement. Let's get back into the video.
Multiple officers immediately responded to the area. While en route, Officer Sumbot with the American Fork Police Department contacted Mr. Johnson by phone. Mr. Johnson reported that Benjamin Snyder and several affiliates were outside of his residence and had approached the home, frightening his wife and his children. When Officer Sumbot arrived, he located a vehicle parked north of the Johnson residence, and that vehicle was occupied by Sierra Lautz and Benjamin Snyder. Officer Sumbot asked what they were doing in the area. Snyder stated that he was involved in a court case and needed to provide legal paperwork to Mr. Johnson. Snyder indicated he worked for himself and that Lautz was his process server. Officer Sumbot then contacted Mr. Johnson to gather additional information regarding the situation. Mr. Johnson explained there was an ongoing dispute involving a Bricks and Minifigs franchise located in Oregon. Mr. Johnson stated that the prior owner, Crystal Law, had reportedly abandoned the store and requested that corporate representatives take over the location. Mr. Johnson identified himself as an employee of Bricks and Minifigs and stated that he had been sent to the store to secure the franchise location and protect company assets. Mr. Johnson further explained that Law had entered into a consignment agreement with an individual named Brian Mansell, but according to Johnson, Mansell had not been paid. Mr. Johnson stated that when he arrived at the Oregon franchise location, Mansell demanded payment from Johnson and his business partner. Johnson reported that corporate representatives advised him they would address the consignment issue directly. However, Johnson claimed that Mansell continued attempting to hold Johnson and his business partner personally responsible under the agreement. Mr. Johnson also reported there were Lego sets believed to belong to Mansell that remained at the store.
Hold on, is it me or has Officer Paul addressed the issue of Mr. Johnson saying that he's gonna shoot someone? Has he addressed that? Because so far I haven't heard anything. He just skipped over that. He was just, yeah. What? That's not a simple thing, and he just glossed over it like, hey, that's nothing. You can make that statement if you want. If it was somebody else, shoot, they'll be in the jail cell like for weeks. And you're telling me that Mr. Johnson made a statement like that saying that he's gonna shoot someone and nothing came of it? Damn. See, when you have money, you have power. Think about it.
According to Johnson, they offered to return those items, but Mansell refused and continued demanding compensation. Mr. Johnson alleged that Mansell had hired Benjamin Snyder to harass, stalk, vandalize the store, threaten to murder the manager of the store, and forge signatures. Mr. Johnson then explained to Officer Sumbot several incidences from the previous days allegedly involving Snyder and or Snyder's affiliates. Officer Sumbot informed Mr. Johnson that Snyder stated he was present with a process server to serve legal paperwork.
You know what's the strangest thing about this case is the fact that Officer Paul said that Mr. Johnson and Brendan Bess, they offered to give back Brian Mansell the toys, which he refused. At no point in the videos that we watched, we saw where Josh Johnson and Brendan Bess trying to give back Mr. Mansell his Lego Star Wars collection. I would really want Officer Paul to come back out and address this issue, because this shows me that he was not fully prepared, or he was not aware of the information or the events that had occurred in its entirety. Now, Officer Paul said that they tried to give back Brian Mansell his toys, his Legos property. Officer Paul, I'm being honest with you. Someone trying to give you back half or a quarter or 3/4 of something that you gave them as a whole is not them trying to give you back what belongs to you. When someone is trying to give you back something that belongs to you, they need to give you back the same amount of items that you gave them at the initial stage, if you understand what I mean. So for me, hearing you say that Josh and his business partner tried to give back Mr. Mansell his items, they weren't trying to give him back everything as a whole, and that's where the problem is. If they were trying to do that, then I honestly believe, in my opinion, I believe that Mr. Mansell would have taken those items that he was getting back and he would have just dropped the entire ordeal situation and be like, I'm happy, you're happy, thank you, and have a wonderful day. Let's get back into the video.
Mr. Johnson claimed the paperwork was fraudulent. Officer Sumbot again contacted Snyder, who stated they needed to physically deliver copies of the paperwork to Mr. Johnson. Officer Sumbot's report states, Snyder told me he was following the government's instructions and that Johnson keeps calling the cops on him to avoid getting in trouble for his crimes. Snyder said this is the 3rd time Johnson has called the cops because he thinks that if he keeps calling the cops on him, he can get away with it, but we are showing him that he's not going to get away with these crimes. Snyder allowed Officer Sumbot to take the paperwork to Mr. Johnson, which Officer Sumbot did in an attempt to help Mr. Snyder. Officer Sumbot advised Mr. Johnson that the paperwork appeared to be related to a claim and a case that originated in Oregon. Mr. Johnson stated that he had already contacted the Oregon Law Enforcement Agency with jurisdiction, which was the Kaiser Police Department, and had been told that nothing had been filed. Mr. Johnson also stated he believed the situation was being created solely for YouTube content purposes and declined to accept service. Officer Sumbot contacted the Marion County Circuit Court in Oregon to verify the legitimacy of the paperwork. The court confirmed that the case was indeed legitimate, but that papers had already been served and no hearing date had yet been scheduled.
Hello. Can I see those papers?
Yeah.
So this is what you're trying to serve them with?
Yes. That's required by the court that we have. I wish we could just send them an email. I wish we could just send them a phone call, or the court could send it to them, but this is what we're required to do from the United States court. So we're just following the instructions of the government.
Have you guys been here before?
I have once. I came one time to have a good faith conversation with him before suing, which the government also requires us to have before.
So are you Benjamin Schneider?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just following basically the instructions of the government, and he keeps calling the cops on me to try to avoid getting in trouble for his crimes. So that's why he keeps calling. I think it's like the third time he's called the cops now on us, because he thinks if I just call the cops on me, he can get away with it. But we're showing him like we're not gonna let him get away with his crime. So
Okay. You okay if I give these papers to him?
yeah, for sure.
Okay. Hang tight. We're gonna finish up some things on our end when we chose it.
Okay, we might need you to fill out some documents later then as proof of service, if that's okay. But because whoever serves him has to fill out a proof of service and might have to fill out some court papers, but that's just the legal way to do it.
Okay. Just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
See, that's this is what I'm talking about. Why is this part of the video still redacted? If Officer Paul wants us to believe what he's saying in the press conference, why is the information still redacted? Why didn't he put the entire video out for us to see and hear the conversation that Officer Sumbot had with Josh Johnson? I don't understand. So you just want us to take your word for it? So we should sit back and be like, yeah, it's true. We can't see anything for ourselves. We need to see for ourselves so that we, the members of the public, can say, yeah, the officers actually, they were doing their job. Doing their job in hiding what? Because this is hiding. It is hiding information. This is what I'm talking about. There should be a new law that should state that a particular police station, this police station, cannot redact information on officers that work here at this location. The new law should state that the information that needs redacting must be done by another police station that is 2 stations away from this location. I bet you all these nonsense stop. These redacting of audio, redacting of video. This is nonsense. We the members of the public don't know what happened. Where's the conversation for us to determine what really happened? For us to say, yes, the officers did their job. Officer Paul, this press release was nonsense. I'm being honest with you. You shouldn't have done this press release without first saying to yourself, you're going to be honest with everything and you're going to let everything out. Because doing a press release like this where all the information is still redacted or it's gutted out, what are we, the members of the public, supposed to look at to say, yes, you are right? This just makes you look bad. This station, this video and the fact that it was still edited just made the situation worse. This just made the situation worse. Let's get back into the video.
What was that?
You got help?
He does not want the paper. So
Does not want the papers?
here's that back for you.
Okay.
He wanted you trespassed.
While officers were speaking with the involved parties, a sign was also located on the park strip across from Mr. Johnson's residence. The sign depicted Mr. Johnson holding U.S. currency in both hands while standing in front of an elderly man lying in a hospital bed. The sign contained the statement, "I stole a dying man's life savings." Snyder admitted he had placed the sign earlier that day. Officer Sumbot advised Snyder that, based on the ongoing conduct being reported and observed, officers believed his actions were approaching the statutory elements of stalking under Utah law. Specifically, officers expressed concern regarding repeated appearances at the residence, directing multiple individuals to contact the family, photographing the home, and placing objects and signs at the property. Officers had already given Snyder earlier warnings. Snyder responded that he believed he was following court procedure. An individual commits stalking if the individual intentionally or knowingly engages in a course of conduct directed at a specific individual and knows or is reckless as to whether that course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for the individual's own safety or the safety of another, or to suffer other emotional distress.
This is the most hilarious thing I've ever come across. You're telling me that based on the things that Ben tried to do in terms of serve Mr. Johnson the paperwork or try to talk to Mr. Johnson, that you're telling me, Mr. Officer Paul, you're saying to the members of the public that Ben was committing harassment, stalking? You're telling me that all that he was doing falls under stalking? Who was he stalking? He was just trying to serve some papers. He was trying to have a conversation. And how does one go by how you know what you should have done, what this officer should have done was that he should have, instead of trying to flip the script and say these are what would cause Ben's action to be considered this, he should have just said, hey, listen, if you had done it this way, then it would not have been considered stalking and you would be well in the right. But then again, when I read this, right, an actor commits stalking if the actor intentionally or knowingly engages in a course of conduct directed at a specific individual and knows or is reckless as to whether the course of conduct would cause a reasonable person to fear for the individual's own safety or the safety of a third individual or to suffer other emotional distress. What? Ben was trying to have a conversation with you. He was not being aggressive. At no point at all did Ben try to be aggressive. He either had a stack of papers or he had nothing at all. He didn't have a weapon. He didn't came aggressive. He didn't came off as aggressive. Well, when he went to look for Brendan Best, I believe he had a basket, and it was only to collect the money. This is a strange rule. You see, the law sometimes chokes itself, right? And if you can't read and comprehend, then you would be in a world of hurt or problems. Because there's nothing in this statement that Officer Paul has put up on screen that would suggest that Ben was in violation of anything. Why would Mr. Johnson be in fear of his life for being served papers and go to court? Man, this must be a joke. This must be a joke, and this is the most serious joke I have ever come across. But hey, I'll let you guys determine if this is a joke or what this is. Let's get back into the video.
Utah law defines a course of conduct as 2 or more acts directed toward a specific individual, including, but not limited to, following, monitoring, observing, photographing, surveilling, or communicating to or about an individual. It also includes approaching or confronting an individual, appearing at an individual's residence, contacting an individual's neighbors, delivering or placing objects on an individual's property, and using electronic communication or third parties to engage in such conduct. Based on the totality of the known facts at the time, Officers established probable cause that Snyder had committed the offenses of stalking and targeted residential picketing under Utah law. Snyder was subsequently arrested and transported to the Utah County Jail.
Hey, one thing for sure, that they literally went through the law just to see where and how best what they could charge Ben with. They made sure to comb through that thing and be like, yep, we got him on this one. Yeah, let's get back into the video. This is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
On March 11th, 2026, Joshua Johnson again contacted the American Fork Police Department to report that Benjamin Snyder and several affiliates were again in the area. Mr. Johnson reported that the individual he believed had been stalking him was across the street from his residence, placing another sign containing Johnson's photograph. Johnson also reported that individuals involved were speaking with his neighbors. Officer Richardson with the American Fork Police Department responded to the area and observed 4 individuals hanging a sign directly across from Johnson's residence. The sign appeared to be either the same sign or a replica of the sign that was referenced in case 26AF02033. Officer Richardson contacted the group and asked what they were doing. The group stated they were supporting a GoFundMe campaign for a dying man. One of the individuals, later identified as Sheldon Norcross, voluntarily showed Officer Richardson his phone to display the GoFundMe. While viewing the phone, Officer Richardson observed that Norcross was actively engaged in a FaceTime call. Officer Richardson asked Norcross who it was he was speaking with, and specifically asked whether it was Benjamin Snyder. Norcross confirmed Snyder was on the FaceTime call. After reviewing the known facts and the elements of Utah's stalking statute, and taking into consideration the new actions from that day, Officer Richardson established probable cause to arrest Snyder for an additional count of stalking. Specifically, Richardson believed Snyder was coordinating conduct through third parties that constituted a continued course of conduct under the statute we reviewed. Officer Richardson then decided to seize Norcross's phone, pending the approval of a search warrant, in order to preserve potential evidence and prevent the deletion or alteration of any data. According to Officer Richardson's report, when Norcross was informed that the phone was going to be seized, Norcross immediately began manipulating the device. Richardson wrote in his report, Norcross then immediately opened his phone and began manipulating it, which led myself and Lieutenant Adamson to believe he was attempting to destroy evidence on his device. At that point, Officer Richardson and Lieutenant Adamson forcibly removed the phone from Norcross's grasp after what Richardson describes in his report as a very brief altercation. Norcross was then detained in handcuffs as part of the stalking investigation.
You know, I'm starting to wonder, did anyone at the police station inform this police officer of the entire situation before he came on camera to do this press release? Because majority of what he has said so far is a blatant lie, or how would you put it? Because one thing for sure though, what he's saying is well scripted. The statement that he's making was well written, that I can say for sure. But is it the truth? The videos show otherwise, and I'm wondering if he had taken some time out to watch all the body cam footage himself and take a look at Ben's YouTube channel to actually see the correlation between the body cam footage of his officers and the published video that involve the same officers during the same situation on Ben's channel. I'm wondering if he actually sat down and did his research, because what he's saying here, I mean, I understand that the police is, I don't want to say a cult because I don't want to look bad, but it's a group where once you're in, they try to protect each other. And based on the investigation that Ben did, right, most of the officers are from the Mormon community, and Mormons protect each other. So that's 2 levels of protection: being in the police force and then being in a Mormons group. I'm just saying that what this officer is currently saying right here on our screen, it's not all correct, Mr. Officer. I think you should have done your research before coming with this press release. But hey, it's already out. I don't know if you're gonna come back and correct it, which I wish you did, and give us the full story behind those redacted videos and audio. We want to see it for ourselves. We want to hear it for ourselves, so that we can make better judgment. But hey, we're hearing you, but what you're saying doesn't match up with what actually happened based on what we saw on the other videos that's out there. Let's continue.
At this time, officers did not know where Snyder was located. While still on scene, Officer Richardson received information from an American Fork resident stating that several YouTubers had been renting an Airbnb property from this citizen. Officers responded to the Airbnb with the intent to arrest Snyder for an additional count of stalking. Upon arrival, officers developed probable cause, including information gathered from video surveillance from the Airbnb, to believe that Snyder had entered the residence and had not yet exited. Officers then prepared a search warrant affidavit requesting authorization to enter the residence to locate and arrest Snyder. During contact with the Airbnb owner, the owner reported overhearing conversations about possible stolen Legos. Specifically, officers wrote in the search warrant affidavit, the homeowner also disclosed that he could hear multiple individuals inside the residence speaking about possibly stolen Lego toys they had taken. Based on that information, officers added a request within the search warrant affidavit seeking authorization to also search for and seize possible stolen property, including Lego merchandise. 4th District Judge Roger W. Griffin reviewed and approved the search warrant. Officers executed the warrant as a knock and announce warrant. What this means is that our officers take the time to knock on the door, to present themselves as officers, and to inform anyone inside that they have a search warrant. As they were doing this, individuals came to the door. Ultimately, 5 individuals exited the residence. Those individuals were identified as Benjamin Snyder, Tyler Shaw, Stephen Allen, Sierra Lautz, and a male who was later identified as a 16-year-old juvenile. As the individuals exited the residence, they were placed in handcuffs while officers secured the scene. During Snyder's detention, Lieutenant Adamson took hold of Snyder's right arm. Lieutenant Adamson later reported that he felt Snyder tense his arm, at which point Adamson moved Snyder's right arm behind his back to place him into custody. Mr. Snyder later addressed this incident in one of his YouTube videos. In the X-ray image displayed by Mr. Snyder in that video, a small L is visible in the upper right-hand corner of the X-ray. The L indicates the image is that of the left shoulder. The video shows Lieutenant Adamson handling Snyder's right arm during the arrest. Additionally, officers documented no complaints of arm or shoulder pain by Mr. Snyder during his detention, transport, or booking process at the jail. All 5 individuals were transported to the American Fork Police Department. Due to limited interview room availability, the individuals were placed in a combination of interview rooms and holding cells while interviews were conducted. The juvenile male was also immediately released to his parents upon arrival at the police department. The 4 adult individuals agreed to interviews with Detective Nicosia. The contents of those interviews are documented in the Associated Police reports, which will be made available through a link accompanying this video. Ultimately, Detective Nicosia determined that Shaw, Allen, and Lautz appeared to have been acting at the direction and encouragement of Mr. Snyder. These 3 individuals were ultimately released from the police department. Mr. Snyder was subsequently transported to the Utah County Jail, where he was booked for an additional charge of stalking. I understand that many people following this situation online have strong feelings regarding the underlying business dispute out of Oregon and allegations that individuals may have lost significant amounts of money. I recognize that people are frustrated, angry, and may feel that justice has not been served in relation to those allegations. Those concerns are understandable. I understand them and I'm empathetic to them. And nothing in the actions taken by the American Fork Police Department should be interpreted as validating, supporting, or defending anyone involved in that separate civil or criminal dispute. Our responsibility in Utah was not to determine who was morally right or wrong in a business disagreement originating in another state. Our responsibility was to respond to conduct reported here in our community, evaluate the facts available to our officers at the time, and enforce Utah law as officers established probable cause that a crime had occurred. The fact that someone may believe they have been wronged financially does not exempt any individual from the laws governing harassment, trespassing, stalking, or other conduct within our jurisdiction. We remain committed to enforcing the law fairly, objectively, and transparently, regardless of who is involved or what narrative may exist.
His responsibility is conducting the law fairly. Well, we did not see this particular officer in action, but officer, I'm gonna tell you, your subordinates are they need retraining, but then again, majority of them might be fired soon. Hey, I guess what is right and what is wrong is based on who's looking at it and from what point of view they're looking at it from. Just saying, based on the statement that Officer Paul made here, it would definitely cause you to kind of question the entire ordeal about who's right and who's wrong. But at the end of the day, all we want to see as the members of the public looking in, all we want to see is that the wrong is corrected to right. That's all we want to see. We want to see the right thing being done by this family, right? If the documents are there, the toys are there, then this should not be a hard case or something hard to deal with. This should be very easy. So, let's see what happens. That's all I can say. Let's see what happens. All right, remember to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.